One of the things that I'd love to have you unpack for us is, when someone's sitting around waiting for motivation and they're struggling to either get started, or they're struggling as they're waking up today to do the thing they say that they want to do. And could you unpack for the person listening why you have to take the action first and how motivation shows up after the action, not before?
So a habit is a behavior that you want to do consistently, right?
That you want to do consistently. Okay.
Motivation, we all know, sometimes you're motivated, sometimes you're not. The motivation rises and falls throughout the day. So why would you want a behavior that you want to do consistently to rely on something that fluctuates? It doesn't make sense. And so this is a good reason why you want to scale habits down to a level where they're so easy to do. Getting into it is so simple that you'll do it even when motivation is low. And so this is another reason for the phrase atomic habits, right? It's about making it tiny and small so that you stick to it even when motivation isn't there.
Well, what does that mean to scale down if I'm trying to meditate or I'm trying to exercise or I'm trying to make that sales call?
I'll give you two examples. So There's this concept in chemistry called activation energy. It's how much energy is required to activate a reaction. So you can think about like striking a match. There's a certain amount of effort that you have to put in to strike the match and for the flame to start, okay? Your habits are kind of like that. Some habits have really big activation energy. If you want to do 100 push-ups a day, that requires a certain amount of motivation. You got to keep doing sets of 5 and 10 throughout the day or whatever. And if it gets to 9 o'clock one day and it's time to go to bed and you haven't done your 100 push-ups yet, I got to kind of motivate yourself quite a bit to get that in before you go to sleep.
I need gasoline for the bonfire in that case. Yes.
So if your objective instead is to do 10 push-ups a day, well, then it's 9 o'clock and you still haven't got them in yet, but you're like, I can probably do 10 before I go to sleep. That's probably doable.
Yep.
And so you can see these two habits have very different activation energies. They have very different amount of effort that they're requiring from you. So scaling it down is choosing the thing that's easy to do that has small activation energy.
So that'd be 10 push-ups a day.
Do 10 instead of 100. Instead of reading 30 books a year, it's read one page, right? It's like stuff like that. Scale it down.
Okay.
There is something that can be tied to this or is related to this, which is a phrase that I feel like I remind myself of a lot, which is reduce the scope but stick to the schedule. So there's so many times where the day kind of gets away from you, like things get busy. Let's say you wanted to work out today and then you look up the clock and, you were planning on doing an hour workout or 45 minutes and you only have 15 or 20 minutes. In that moment, the conversation I used to have with myself was, well, I guess I don't have time to work out today.
Yes.
And then you move on. But instead, what I'm trying is to say, reduce the scope, but stick to the schedule. And so I'll go down, I'll change in my workout clothes and go down to my basement and go down to this little home gym area that I have. And maybe I only have 15 minutes and I can only do one set of squats, but that's what I do. And in some ways, I feel like the bad days matter more than the good days. It's showing up on the days when it's not ideal. It's showing up on the days when you don't have energy or time or capacity that keeps the habit alive. And if you keep the habit alive, all you need is time. But if you throw up a 0, now the streak is broken. And sometimes one day can turn into 5 days and can turn into 3 months. And then you find yourself wanting to get back on track. And I think rather than asking yourself, what can I do on my best day? You should start by asking, what can I stick to even on the bad days?
Oh, I love that.
And that becomes your baseline.
Okay, so you've already given us two incredible things, which is, what if this were fun? What would it look like if it were fun? And as you're thinking about the beginning of a habit, defining it by what could I actually stick to even on my worst day?
Right.
How is it that motivation shows up after the action?
Because you have this feeling of progress. Now you have something that look, I've made some movement forward. You have something to look at. It's the difference between hope and evidence. Now you have some evidence. And so you have a reason to believe it. Say, oh, look at myself moving forward. And that starts to feel really good once you stack a couple days together. I think this is one of the lessons of my work, which is it doesn't take much to feel good again. You'd be surprised what you can do with 5 good minutes. 5 good minutes of conversation can restore a relationship. 5 good minutes of exercise will leave you winded and reset your energy and mood for the day. 5 good minutes of writing will make you feel like the manuscript is moving forward again. It doesn't take much to feel good. And so you just need a little bit to get yourself back on the path.
That's the entire premise of this podcast, that it takes so little to make you feel good again. And once you do, the progress and the momentum kicks
Mhm.
in. If you're the kind of person who's listening and you're like, God, I've just failed too many times.
Mhm.
And so you feel discouraged about starting in, whether it's putting yourself back out there on the dating scene or it's dusting off your resume after getting laid off and feeling like, what value do I have to offer? Or you tried yet again to lose